Welcome to the Choose on Purpose podcast, where leaders live with intention. I am your host, Becky Plotz. Today, we're talking about one of the most empowering concepts, starting over, right? The understanding that we can quite literally choose again, staying away from failure and really thinking about the opportunity that we have to start fresh, to begin new and fresh, and have the opportunity to realign with our higher purpose and the potential that we have. Have you ever thought, what would I do if I could start fresh? Well, today we're going to dive into why starting over can be the best thing that ever happened to you. At one point, it was the best thing for me to be fired from a retail job and be thrown into this idea of what would I do? What do I want to do now that I have the opportunity to go whatever direction I want? And I chose what I was passionate about, which is capturing moments, photography. And I want to debunk the myth that starting over equals failure, right? Because this was one of the things that played in my head a little bit for a couple months when I was fired from that job, about being a failure, about not being good enough. And it's not about that. It's looking at it from a pivotal standpoint to kind of get that recalibration, to get a new perspective, a fresh view. And, it did take me a couple months. And then the question was asked to me, like, what would you do if you could do anything? Because quite literally, you could. And every great story, every great leader has a moment of reinvention, I feel like, right? Like, what think about it for you. When do you reinvent yourself? Things are at a pivotal moment. So take a moment to reflect. What's one area of your life where you feel stuck? Imagine if you gave yourself permission to begin again, free from the guilt or shame or judgment that might go along with that. Like, just imagine that for a minute. A fresh beginning, right? And it could be something that you've done before, but it's a new way. That's fresh. And here's how to start fresh with purpose. I have three things. One, acknowledge your past. This is accepting it as a lesson, staying away from thinking like that's a life sentence. That was that was how it was. And just accept that that's a lesson there from the past. Acknowledge that. Step two to embracing a fresh beginning is to identify the exciting piece of it, right? Asking yourself, what excites me about this new chapter? What was exciting when I was asked the question was that I could choose anything. I could literally start going to school and learn anything that I wanted or find a mentor for anything or travel or whatever it was. It was like, what do I want? What excites me? And then the third step for embracing a fresh beginning is to take action, right? Starting with a small, purposeful step. And for me, that was looking at, you know, well, how do I start learning about photography? Because at that point, the only experience I had was a crank disposable camera and having my senior photos taken that I didn't even want at the time. So, what's one step, one purposeful action step that you can take? That's the third step. Okay, now let's talk about someone that is an inspiring story. A community member who left her corporate job to pursue her passion for coaching. And the secret to that is that she literally gave herself a fresh start, a clean slate, if you will, and looked at it as a chance to step fully into her calling, her purpose, and to really give herself that permission, the opportunity to be more of who she wanted to be, who she felt drawn and called to be. And every day can be like that, right? Like, that's what I look for, like that fulfillment in every day, that excitement in every day to say, like, it is a new day. One of my friends in the OP community, she says it's a new day cafe as a part of her business. And I have always loved that because I always want to put on the mind of it's a fresh start today. And we want to plan for tomorrow, and we need to act in today. We need to be here today. And this is something that I am working towards all the time, strengthening that confidence to know, like, and trust that the action that I'm taking today is because I've planned for tomorrow. Right? I actually have the tattoo on my foot, learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. If you have any fun tattoos that remind you of your journey, I want to know about them. Please share them with me. I want to hear it. You can send me a picture of any inspirational tattoos also if you feel up to it. yourconnectionstrategist@gmail.com. Okay, so write down one area where you're ready to start fresh and step into it. Like, own the fact that you know this is an area that you want to have a new chapter. And it's just waiting for you to accept that you can do that. You can choose again, my friend. So start identifying that piece of your life. What do you want to start fresh? Remember to acknowledge your past, right? Accept the fact that it was a lesson. Learn from it. Identify what's exciting about what you want to have a fresh start in. What excites you about this new chapter? And then take an action step with purpose toward that. Thanks for tuning into the Choose on Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Becky Plautz. Until next week, love yourself, live fearlessly, and do all things with purpose.